Okay. Well, we have been crushing into infancy and the different growths. Hello, how are you? Doing good. It's not that hot in here today. I was glad. So when you have a baby, when do you have to take them to the doctor? And when you have a baby, when do you have to take them to the doctor? There's a lot. So screening recommended at 9 months, 18 months, 24 months. So there's different things like you look at as a social worker. Milestones, like different things that they do to like during their growth. So sitting, standing position, the gait, their movement. It helps them see if they're at risk for like developmental delay. So this is what the doctor also looks for. Like at 1 month, the baby doesn't turn its head until it's a month old. Like it will go kind of like side to side. They barely have muscles at all when they're born. So like they're building all these muscles. So at 1 month, they learn how to turn their head. At 2 months, we've got turn of their head. 4 months, rolls front to back. Hello, how are you? We got to get a sheet, don't we? 4 months, rolls front to back. 7 months, sits without support. 10 months, creeping well, like cruising around the furniture. They take their independent steps. 14 months, they stand without pulling up and walks well. So like they're starting to walk at about 14 months. Those of you who have little ones, how old are they when they walk? Or nieces and nephews? Yeah. Yep. I've seen them be as late as 2.
When I worked at a daycare, I had a 9-month-old. She was walking.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it depends on like how motivated they are to do it too. So, and then 22 months, kicks a ball with demonstration. So I would say actually my 2-year-old is definitely doing that. And at 2 years, they can kick a ball, jump with 2 feet off the floor, and throw a big ball overhead. So they can kind of go like that. So like kids take a while to build up all the different things that they're building up. So red flags are here if they have an inability to sit at the age of 9 months, and then 18 months inability to walk independently. So those are all the things you guys are kind of looking for as a social worker. Here's the grid again. So 0, they're turning their head. 2 and 3 months, they're like able to begin, like they build the muscle to push themselves up. 5, they get enough muscle to roll over, like roll on the mat. 6, they can sit like the tripod stand. They got to kind of hold their hands up. Then after 6, they can like sit up without holding with hands. 7, crawling a little bit. 8, lifting themselves up. Crawling, lifting themselves up, and then walking like a creep right here. He's kind of like, and then they start to finally walk at about 12. So that's like the normal growth. Do your parents ever tell you guys how long you took to walk? Or like any developmental things you did? First memory? Do you remember your first?
My first memory is my dad's funeral.
Oh, how?
I was 4.
Yeah, that would be pretty significant.
Yeah, I remember it was raining, stuff like that.
Was it like open casket? Is that why?
No, I don't think I saw him. I don't think my mom, because
But-
like I know my family is big with like the kids, and I don't think I saw him. I know we were in front. I vividly remember like being at like the grave site and like them lowering him into the ground and stuff like that. Because that's when it started raining. I don't think it rained like at the beginning of the day, but when they lowered him in there, I just remember seeing umbrellas and stuff like that.
Because you knew that was your dad. You're like, whoa, they're
Yeah.
putting him underground.
Mhm.
Did you have a good relationship with him, like growing up?
I
Or
remember.
okay,
Because I was born in 2001 and he died in 2005. So I was really like 3.5. He died in January.
okay. Oh, anybody else have a first memory? First thing you remember ever as a child?
I remember my mom, she went to like her granddad's funeral.
Uh-huh.
And I don't remember him per se, but like I kind of remember his like green little wheelchair and going over to his house. Like I don't remember fully, but I do remember his like green little wheelchair. And then like I was at my dad's house during the funeral, so it was more like she came back, and I just remember like standing there. It was raining hard that day because I wanted to go outside. He said no, and my mom, she was just standing out the porch, and they were talking, and she like left.
That's interesting. You both remember funerals because it's like a traumatic event. Like, is that your first memory?
I was 2.
Really?
I remember being on my nana's deathbed with her in the hospital. I was laying in her
Oh.
hospital bed. I remember what color she wore, what she was wearing
Really?
at her funeral.
What color?
She wore blue.
Okay. Huh. Were you a funeral too? I don't know if mine was.
Nah, I lost my brother later in my life, so that was my first memory. I can't remember like a actual significant memory as
Right. It's usually like age 3 or age 4. Okay. So, we got everybody signed in. Adriel, Cherie, Kiesia, Lakira, Bianca, and Blake. Okay. And I also put up the eco map. So you've got 2 weeks for that. I think it is.
It looked easy. That's really why.
Like, watch this.
See first because you kind of get straightforward on how to do it.
It's like, what do you spend your energy all day doing is what it's looking at. Like, who do you interact with? What people do you talk to? What are it's usually you in the middle.
In this video,
Right.
we will explain how to make an eco map. An eco map is a diagram showing the social and personal relationships of an individual. As we make an eco map, we put the parent or child in the center and
Because
visualize.
I was mentioning, like, do you do work? Do you have school? Do you have church? Do you have how's your relationship with your parents? How's the relationship with your mom and dad and stuff? With your
We
grandparents?
display the key
So
relationships.
this is how you
they
make
have.
an eco map.
We talk with parents and children from a strength-based and person-centered perspective, forming a relationship in which we work together to empower the parent and child. The eco map shows the important nurturing or conflict-laden connections between the family and the world. It demonstrates the flow of resources or lack thereof. As an assessment tool, an eco map can be helpful in determining the family's strengths, resources, needs, and deficits. It helps the parents and children to understand the various systems with which they interact, and it gives us the opportunity to encourage them to build upon their network if necessary.
So it does all those. It builds a relationship with parents. It's an assessment thing, like resources and needs, strengths, and then developing the support network. You might see somebody that would be a good support for them to go to if they needed
For
it.
example, we will make an eco map for Michelle, the author's daughter, a healthy 17-year-old teenager. But before we start with the example, let's explore what resources people usually have. When we think about supports, we can divide them into informal and formal supports. Informal supports are family members and friends, people who don't get paid to be with us. On the other end are formal supports. We think about school, intervention programs, doctors, CPS, and CASA. Formal supports are assigned to work with us. They often get paid to do so. Between the formal and informal supports, there are the institutions we choose to be involved with.
Anybody heard of CASA before? It's like court appointed special assistant, and then CPS. Anybody heard of CPS? That's the one. 241 kids. Okay.
Examples are the workplace, clubs, faith organizations, and neighbors. That is where we meet people because we are part of the same group. When we draw an eco map, we look at all these realms of life to find support for the parent or child. Let's now see what Michelle's eco map looks like, what formal and informal support she has, what organization she is part of, and who she is acquainted with at each of these organizations.
Are you guys all in here still teenagers? No? 20? 21?
I'm about to be 21. Next week. Still a teen. Yeah.
All right.
Damn near finna be 20. Period. I'll be 21.
So this is about a teenager.
April's crazy.
It's a good it's a good example, but that's why I was putting it out. So you see all the support you can have, and remember, start with you in the you're right in the
We
middle.
start by putting the person we interview in the middle of the paper and add some empty circles to get it started.
I know.
The first question to ask is,
She might
who
have
is
Parkinson's.
important in your life? Michelle will tell you of her parents, sisters, and boyfriend. When we ask Michelle where she spends most of her time, she
Do you have to put all the boyfriends? I'm just kidding.
will tell
I'm
us she
just
spends
kidding.
most
It's a
of her
bad
time
joke.
at school. We can ask her who important teachers are and who she spends time with at school. She has a friend at school she also meets outside of school. A good next question is, what groups, activities, or memberships do you hold or belong to? Michelle will then go into a long conversation that she is an activist and is a member of several activist groups, and who she knows there. That she is a rock climber and who her favorite coach is and who her climbing friends are. She also tells you she goes to church and a church group, but she isn't close with anyone there. Since we cannot put in a person's name for her church activities, we just put church in the circle. This is a place she meets people.
Where's church? Does anybody see it? I don't think they have it. So you see it's mostly the energies exchanged between people in your lives. It could be teachers, mentor, and things of that nature.
And could possibly build on her support network. Asking Michelle about her neighbors, she'll tell you that she has a neighbor whom she could contact in case of emergency. Can the parent or youth you interview name an emergency contact? As a last question, we verify if the diagram is complete. Is there anyone missing? Are there any other groups or places you go to during the week? Michelle will tell you that she goes to vision therapy once a week to learn to focus better. Now we have identified whom Michelle spends time with. We'll review what questions we've asked to get here, and then we'll see how she relates to everyone. Here are some questions you may want to ask to build the eco map.
So these are questions you can ask yourself if you're building your own eco map. Like, who's important in your life? Who you spend the most time with? What groups, activities, memberships have you had? Who do you talk to when you're there? What is your source of income? Student loans. Who do you talk to in your neighborhood? Can you name an emergency contact? Any other clubs you visit during the week? Anyone missing? That's not like a milk carton missing. You guys, do they do the milk carton still when you were growing up? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like if you're missing, they would put on a milk carton. It's another bad joke. So
The next step is to explore the quality of these relationships. Relationships might be depicted as close or distant, strong or weak, one-sided or mutual. Michelle loves her parents and thickens the line between herself and her parents. The arrows point both ways.
So like if there's somebody who really stresses you out, you're going to put like the lines through there at the bottom. It says that's a strenuous. And if it's a good relationship, it's bold. And then if you get energy or take energy from it, give energy to it or take energy from it.
She receives and gives love.
Or if it's
She also loved
What's that?
Making this?
This is the second assignment.
Okay.
So it's like everybody you interact with all throughout the week, month, year, even if, it's parents on break, just like all the people that you talk to and interact with and all that. Clubs and
loves her
churches.
sisters, her boyfriend, and other friends, and identifies these relationships as reciprocal. Michelle mainly receives energy from her rock climbing coach, her teacher in school, and her vision therapist. So
Those make sense too, as you're paying them for it, if that makes sense. Like maybe as a 17-year-old, you wouldn't notice that, but you pay for that energy you receive from like teachers and rock climbing coach and even church sometimes.
arrow points towards Michelle, but not the other way. Michelle and her school counselor argue a lot. This relationship is a strenuous one. We put stripes to show the relationship is taxing. The relationship with the neighbors is not very active, but it gives Michelle peace of mind to have someone to go to in case of a fire or other pressing things. The dashed line shows the relationship, although significant, is tenuous. If the parents or youth you interview give a lot of energy to everyone, but don't receive much back, there is not a balance and it becomes draining. Or if the interviewee receives mostly energy, but is not giving much back, we can likewise be aware of the impacts this could have. As you can see, an eco map gives you a good overview of the dynamics of someone's relationships. It shows you what groups your individual belongs to, what support they have within each group, and where there is a possibility to grow the support network. It creates a meaningful dialogue between volunteer or caseworker and parent or child. Making an eco map together will give you the opportunity to gain understanding of the family's social environment and evaluate connections together. We put a date on the map. Over time, relationships will change. If we give Michelle strategies on how to work with her counselor and how to make friends at church, we have empowered her. And maybe next time we make an eco map with her, it will show.
So the date is good because, as you guys noticed, maybe you had friends in high school that you don't even talk to anymore, or maybe there's somebody you knew growing up that you never thought would be a good friend, and they are. The most important is kind of identifying the changes and the energy you have throughout the week, and that you can do this for yourself so that when you see a client individually, you can do it with them. And that's kind of the approach there.
We hope you have enjoyed watching this video.
So that is now you don't have to wash the hand anymore like that. Do you? Any questions on that? Because it is a bit away. I know a couple of you have seen Remember My Story, Part 2, Remove Part 2. Which class did you all watch it in? I forgot. Probably intro.
I didn't watch it.
Okay, you've been the only one. Oh, okay. Anybody else seen this? Removed Part 2. We watched the first part on Tuesday. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I watched it.
Right. That's right. So it gets better. I think it has hope at the end. It seems very depressing and then it's hopeful at the end. So
You don't remember my story. All you can think about is your own story. You cannot heal me. You're not a healer. You cannot save me or hide me. This is my story.
So those are maybe some of the things she'll say to you as a social worker. Like when you get a kid from foster care, like they might freaking hate you at first. You know what I mean? Like imagine doctors you had to go see and you didn't want to see as a kid. So as a social worker, building that empathy and connection is like your first and most important thing. And know that that's how some kids will be looking at you when you start
I
out.
have to make peace with it. Once upon a time, there was a girl who It was being torn apart. In between the homes, she learned not to trust, to always have her guard up.
In what ways have you maintained a parent and child relationship?
Is that too
I
loud?
love them.
The issue with this hearing is not whether or not you love your children or if they love you. The issue is, at this point, if you have a parent-child relationship with your children, and if it will bring harm for that legal relationship to be terminated.
Ms. Law, do you understand the purpose of this hearing?
Yes.
So you understand that this hearing is to terminate your parental rights. Do you understand that if the judge terminates them, you will no longer be the legal mother of your children?
Yes. Wow. Look at this.
So, as a social worker, you're sometimes asked to go into court, and that's also what it could look like for you.
Sometimes my life feels like a circle, a never-ending, ongoing cycle. And I don't know how to stop it. Or change it, or break it. When I finally come close, it starts all over again. A whirlwind, a tornado, set out to destroy me. Hi.
Hey. I think I'll be another 15 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So that's her foster mom, and at the end of the last one, she got her brother added.
Sometimes things begin to get better. Once upon a time, when she didn't know how to get back to Earth. Life falls to a new rhythm. Where'd you go? Under your story. You're so smart. New normal. If you went through the atmosphere, that's a big word. Can you say atmosphere? Atmosphere. Nice. And it may not be the best. But I've made peace with it. What's that? Chocolate.
That's cool.
Is it hot? It feels like almost I might be happy. What does she do? Look at the stars up there. Maybe I can write my own story. Start from scratch. Forget all the past.
Great. What's this one about?
Oh, this one's a tornado.
Did you know there are tornadoes in outer space? It's actually how stars are born. Zoe, we have a visit with your mom today. Let's go pick up your brother.
But then, of course, someone else makes a choice and leaves me alone to figure it out.
Now remember, this is your last visit with Anaya,
Isn't there anything we can do to change it?
You need to prove that you're taking steps to get your life back together.
I know. Okay, my life doesn't have to be this way.
Too hard? Want to help him? Now try. Good. Now you want to do the other one?
Hey.
Put your cup down. I'm going to take my socks off. Good job.
Thank you. Hey, darling.
You got in here?
He likes airplanes, doesn't he?
Yes.
Just let me hug you goodbye. Can I please hug you goodbye?
Zoe, we have some guests coming over this evening.
Well, come on. Tell him. You gotta get in the rocket ship.
Response?
Yeah, heard you. Can you get in the rocket ship for me?
Oh, thank you so much for letting us on short notice.
It's okay. Come right in. Hi.
This is Emily and
Hi.
David Alvarez.
Hi, nice to meet you.
They're very excited to meet Benaya.
Oh, that's great.
I don't think this is going to be the best thing for Zoe. Because she can't handle him being taken away from her again.
They'll have bi-weekly visits indefinitely, and I know it's not ideal.
I will get him. Find your sleeves. There you go. Use your muscles. Ah. Your muscles, Benaya. Yes. Ready to meet? This is Miss Emily.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
We have something for you. You want to open it? Oh, you're a spaceman. That's pretty cool, Benaya.
His room is actually decorated.
Really?
Oh, where's Kyra?
Hey, she had to leave early.
Oh. Benaya! 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 Benaya!
Zoe.
Benaya!
Zoe, wait. Zoe. No, listen. Zoe, I have to tell her thing. Let me tell you.
When I finally come close, it starts all over again.
What are you working on in school?
Homework?
Do you still like to draw? I always liked your drawings. I love you, you know? Hey, I love you. And I'm gonna fight to get Benaya back. My mom never fought for us, but I'm gonna fight for him.
What about me?
Of course. You're not a kid anymore.
You're all grown up.
When I close my eyes and see my life, the life I always imagined, I see something different than what I see now.
So that is the foster parent, and a lot of times folks do foster to adopt. Um, the parents can get rights back if they prove to the courts that they're making steps to maybe be rehabilitated or have a safe space for them to live. But as you can see, a lot of challenges come in between, like the separation of the family, siblings split up, and all that.
She may have some negative side effects to it, but this will help with moments of uncontrollable anger. I really believe it's easier.
Zoe doesn't need meds. She needs more therapy. She needs more interaction with her mom.
You see what I do, but forget why.
They'll get a chance to see him. Hopefully twice a month, maybe even more. I've already set up a play date for this weekend.
Why do they think they can just have him? They aren't his parents.
If it doesn't work, you can always up the dosage or add a second medicine to it to help you feel a little less sad or angry.
But why wouldn't you?
You forget what I've heard. You forget my pain.
Well, the courts have said that your mom has to.
What? I'm not good enough for them?
That's not it at all, Zoe.
Then what? I explode inside. Sometimes slowly. Sometimes all at once. I hate you! But always, eventually.
What are you reading?
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah? Is it good?
Yeah. It's better than the movie. In the book, Oz is a real place. It's not just in her dream. The tornado catches her up and it takes her away to a real place.
Is that you?
No. She's trying to escape. But the tornado keeps pulling her back in. She keeps spinning and spinning.
It's not always about escaping, though. There you are. Right in the middle of all that spinning, you can let that tornado rip apart your heart, or you choose how to let what has happened to you affect you. Your mom's story doesn't have to be your story. Your future can be different.
Remember that. And remember what happens tomorrow. We get a chance to visit Benaiah.
Benaiah? Benaiah. So he's been adopted fully by somebody else. Teenagers are harder to adopt. Right. Right, you're probably right. Right.
So, guess what? Did you know that space tornadoes are actually real? When the stars be born, it only comes out of a tornado. But at the end, a star's left. All that wind. That's you, everybody. Yeah, we're stars. Yeah, isn't that cool? We're stars.
Zoe, you wrote this in your diary. Sometimes someone hurts you so bad, it stops hurting at all. Honey, what are you talking about? If you were to go home to live with your mom right now, would you be safe?
Objection, Your Honor. Cause for speculation.
Objection sustained.
Once upon a time, there was a girl who was being torn apart.
Do we have a prosecutor today?
No, Your Honor.
Maybe you never thought your path would cross these valleys or be led up these mountains.
Miss Locke, you've made considerable efforts. However, what you
And no one can break the inside of me.
So we cannot continue to wait.
And no one can tell me who I will be.
She's a permanent saint. I find that this is the son's best news. So today,
And the question lives. You have the choice. Where to go next.
So they kind of keep it open-ended to show you don't know where she ends up. Like she could have gotten placed with the permanent placement, the foster parents, or her mom. But like the point as a social worker being kind of help her through therapy that she can be safe wherever she ends up. And then they skip forward to where she's older here now too.
We are stars. On fire, wind, or into the chaos. And the winds whip around us. No one stays with us.
Can you stay a second so I can talk to you?
Everything we know was taken away.
I know it can be hard when you're living in a home that's not your own. Hard to concentrate and stuff.
But one day,
You don't have to draw. Just remember that you get to decide who you want to be. Okay? No one else can do that.
one day. Thanks, Miss Zoe. You will shine.
That was her. So it's kind of a story, you know, in the middle they show how trauma can affect and help with trauma. At one part they're like, should we give her more meds? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that or heard that before. Like, maybe you just need more medication, or your brother needs more medication. Or when I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do was medicate us with Ritalin and stuff. But sometimes it is something that you like need to list, and there's something to be said. So that's why I do give a little bit of the focus on developmental, like as you are learning how to do things growing up. The first memory you had, we asked that when some of you guys weren't here. Do any of you remember? Mine was like, my parents said they were throwing a pacifier to the raccoon at the Cincinnati Zoo as they wanted me to quit chewing on stuff. And I was pissed, so I remember it. So usually it's like a traumatic event, or like some people mentioned a funeral. Anybody else remember your first memory? Willing to share? Doesn't sound good, whatever it is. Are they close? The pacifier thing is funny. Is I was a pack-a-day smoker for 10 years, and now to quit, I chew these toothpicks, and that's like the only thing that helped me quit, because I was, you know, that's how I quit. Yeah. I was a smoker and used to be able to smoke everywhere, and then you couldn't smoke anywhere, and so now I just chew toothpicks. My lungs are better for it. So anybody have a first memory? Like 3. Usually it's 3 or 4. You don't remember anything until you're 3 or 4. I feel like even from 3 to 10, it's hard to remember a lot of things. You know, it's usually the big events you remember. But most of the life we do remember. I mean, I'm about to be, if you count your Chinese age, you add 9 months onto your age. So I guess I'm 45 in China, but I'm 44 and a half here in America. And I remember a lot. But trauma memories that kind of point to trauma is that we don't want to remember it. Like, we'll hide stuff away. It'll get stuffed back in. And why, as a therapist, we do sensory processing things, sometimes drawing. You saw in here, she does like a lot of the artistry stuff, because your left brain is where a lot of the trauma is stored. Or I'm sorry, left-handed. So right brain is where the trauma brain is stored. And if you have good development being brought up, you'll walk on these timelines. We'll get more into it on Tuesday, but here's some of the fine motor skills. We talked about walking, talking, whatever, but fine motor. So at 2 months, you hold on to a rattle placed in the hand. At 3 months, you might like start batting objects out of whomever's hand. 5 months, reaching and grasping at objects. 6 months, transfer like hand to hand, like food. 9 months, bangs 2 cubes together. 12 months, pincer grasp. Anybody know what that is? Like, think of the lobster. So like when they got to pick up a blueberry, like your kids, you usually give them blueberries. So they like learn how to pick. They're not good at picking stuff up. You know what I mean? They're like, they drop it and they spill food everywhere. So you don't get that until about 12 months. 14 months, imitates back and forth scribble or a 3-cube tower. 20 months, adjusting a spoon for eating. 22 months, closes the box with a lid. Imitate vertical lines. And at 2 years, a child can create a 6-block tower, feed themselves, with a fork and a spoon, remove clothing, and grasp and turn a doorknob. Actually, we found that out. My 2-year-old ran out of the house. She opened the door and just went outside. So now we got to lock, some of the. She didn't go far, luckily, but she was like outside crying, trying to get back. That's usually when you get the 241 kids called. Like if it was a closer knit neighborhood, she could have walked out into the street. But luckily, we have a yard and she stayed. And that's child raising. Any questions about this stuff or your eco map or your genogram? Do you have paper for a sign-in sheet?
Yeah.
You did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about what's on the front.
Oh,
Just worry about what's on the back.
Is this a note from the?
I think that's on the other class.
All right.
They ain't talking about it.
It works. Any questions from any of you guys? No memory still? Like your parents didn't take your pacifiers or like not buy you the ice cream you wanted? Why no pacifiers? You were real, you said, or what was it?
I was real. Like I was
No pacifiers. They're big nowadays. They're like
my sister don't use a pacifier for my niece.
it's probably better. I feel like pacifiers turn kids into smokers.
Still behind.
What do you think? Right. When you don't. Because I had 3 sets of braces too.
3 sets of braces.
I'm for real. And they say these toothpicks still mess up my teeth because I chew on them so hard that it like moves your teeth. But all right, so you got your next assignment. It's not due for like 14 days. Isn't that exciting?
So wait, so what day is it? We could make it on like the paper.
You can draw it and just take a picture of it again. That's fine. It's probably, let's see here. Are you guys this class? hbse? So I made it due on precisely probably like the 21st. September 21st. Yay. You still can sign in for attendance here too. That's for like the internet attendance. Well, that's for like if people were just watching it and I didn't have them down yet. We have to. They're recommending to us telling nobody watches like does the online class because people are dropping out and not doing their assignments. So it's better if you come to class. Yes, thank you. See y'all later. We got a question on information on assisting children and adolescents who come from hard places. Look at Dr. Karen Purvis.
You be having fans on your YouTube.
It's just student. It could be old students like signing, messing around.
So, like so nice that they still tune in to every live that they highlight. That's how you know you a good professor.
That's kind of funny.